doing a Lionsgate pop up. Y'all are doing well in these energies. Miss Natou Ma'at of Namsant.
Peace.
How art thou, girl? How you doing? How you doing?
Happy Lionsgate
Happy
portal.
Lionsgate, sister.
Ashe. I am doing great, definitely. Um, enjoying the energies, working with the energies, staying focused with the energies. um,
Well,
and yeah, it's been a good day. Definitely a day of preparation and alignment. So grateful for that. How are you doing?
same. I'm more productive, I think, than it looked like I was going to be able to be. Some of these energies were kind of heavy, but I had done another Lionsgate read that I'm gonna post to the Rumble channel
Hmm.
um, tonight. But it was talking. It's some of these discussion of these energies did come up. I think a lot of this is one foot in front of the other. So, like, if there are different strange things that take place, it is because we're moving through energies to access anchor points that anchor points of light that have been put there through shadow work. You
Hmm.
know, like reactivate the pathways where the body of light is hydrated and we're shining our light. So yeah, I've been finding my way there, but I'm not going to front. There has been kind of a density to some of these energies and some strange little things along the way, but I just think it's meant for us. I mean, the South Node's in Virgo right now. I think it's meant for us to align with routines,
Hmm.
and set our minds to things, to kind of see it through, because I do think some of this stuff right now, there is a stagnancy. There's a little bit of a stagnancy that we're working through in the collective.
I definitely agree, and this was coming to mind to me today, just thinking about all of the energies that are being released and all this rebirth energy that has come in, and people are going to have to face what they were not trying to look at or to resolve. Um, the energies are quite strong for transformation to take place. So
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone's sort of giving themselves the space to do that. I I don't know. I think it's going to be a good time for some people, and for others it just might be a little challenging. That doesn't mean that it's a not a good time. It's just it's not what they're used to. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and in some ways, those who are ready to level up are sort of, I don't know, like those who are not ready or struggling are may interfere or sort of make that experience not so fun, because just it's sort of like it gives a misery loves company kind of vibe, like
Yeah,
like this isn't
unfortunately,
working for
yeah.
me, I don't want it to work for you too, like like that kind of thing. So I think it's best to be protecting your energy, silently and calmly laying down your boundaries, um because at the same time these folks are struggling in their own way. And so just letting
Mm-hmm.
people know, like, hey, like, it's not okay to be pushing your weight around, but I also have to protect my energy. So what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there needs to be some space. So however you need to do it, for all the folks out there listening, definitely prioritize your peace and enjoy these solar frequencies, these Syrian or frequencies, because it's just a balance that's being restored, and not everyone's gonna have fun with it. So
Yeah,
yes.
very true. And peace, Adrian. Adrian Ramirez, thank you. I don't know how to get into, and peace, Red Dog. I don't know how to, I don't know, respond with text, but hi. Yeah, I think some of these energies are, there's energies of density to pass through, but I think a lot of it is because there's energies of the past that are being confronted right now. So any energies that like feed off of, I don't know, misery, or they're looking for something to feed off of, would be like the thing to bypass. Um, like in the current time with these Lion Gates energies, and there is that challenge to it. You were talking about like misery, loving company, and that kind of thing, those sorts of energies. And I'm inclined to agree that, yeah, there could be some of that in these energies. And it's just kind of a consider the source, right? Like trolls and, pseudo trolls, because they ain't guarding no bridge, but, people who want to come through to a space, right, and start static. Um, that says a lot maybe about what they're unhappy with. You know what I'm saying? Like in their own circle. If it's in the workplace, if it's in the family, wherever it's actually popping up, I think there's been an obvious lack of light in the world. Um, but we're the ones who are supposed to be tapping into our light and being the alchemist. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We might need to consider some kind of moderation situation, because like we know what it's like out here in
Yeah, we're just
these internet
getting
streets. But yeah, yeah,
we're
y'all, we have not really been doing live, so bear with
yeah,
us.
we're getting our feet wet here, so we will figure out part, chat participation and how that's going to go. But in the meantime, let's just keep it very cute.
Yeah, it's
um
definitely about keeping it cute.
yeah.
If things go in any kind of weird direction, I mean, we do have the option to like toss people out and that kind of thing. So just bringing that,
Hmm.
to your attention, because I think there are people out there that this is, what they do is they come and disrupt, and that's just what it is.
Absolutely.
So yeah, being prepared for that kind of thing so that we're not taking our mind off of the purpose of being here, I think is going to be essential.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I've already done some, some work in the chat, so
oh, have you? Oh, look at
we should
girl.
be we should
Can't be
be
sleeping
good
on
for now.
you.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
be sleeping
no.
on you. It's giving heavy on like spiritual battle. Tika T. What up?
Mystica. Peace,
Sorry, I'm all in
Mystica.
everybody's ear. What up, home girl? Happy
Yeah.
Lionsgate, sister. And I wish you could be a part of this with us. We can only do like two screens, huh? In the future, we'll figure something out. I don't know why YouTube hasn't like kind of incorporated more of an audio like room situation as of yet. I think it. I don't know. They have enough to manage, so maybe that's why they haven't. But I think it would actually be kind of dope potentially. But I mean, I can see how it could also be a mess. So
Yeah.
it just depends. Depends on the space. I hope you're having a good Lionsgate, Latika.
Yes, happy Lionsgate. Happy Lionsgate. It was beautiful weather over on the East Coast. So
It
I hope
truly has been.
I hope it's, I hope everyone all over has been um experiencing that. There's definitely like a refresh that has taken place. It feels like that. All these other like distractions are minor. They feel minor. They feel like last resort. How can I get my foot in the door as the doors are closing? Because like some doors are closing, and
I
you
was
know
told that. Spirit told me that earlier today.
mm,
Something about some doors closing. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, word, because I was like in the middle of something.
Hmm.
But the fact that you're saying that, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Like it's coming through again. Doors are closing. This makes sense why some of these energies were trying to kind of, I don't know, lock arms and
Mm-hmm.
block the pathway. Very weird.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah, so I don't know like if we want to get into the reading, or what are you feeling? What how are the vibes going?
I've got the
Mhm.
cards out, so I can hop into the cards I pulled for Lionsgate.
Okay.
Um, it is more so expansion, focusing on expansion, like light into the pathway,
Mm-hmm.
so I can get into that. And then I don't know if you were gonna pull cards. I believe you're doing. Were you doing Reiki? I don't know, girl. You
Yeah,
went once.
I was kind of going back and forth with Reiki or pulling a few cards, but I think I'm just gonna do like a couple of minutes of Reiki to just kind of, bring in more light um for this Lionsgate. So yeah.
All right, so it's up to you if you want to do the Reiki first or if you want me to do the read first. I'm cool either way.
Um, I'm I'm happy to do the Reiki since the Reiki will be a couple of minutes. Um, Let me just take a second to recenter and then I'll come back on the mic.
Okay.
Um, Let me just adjust. And I don't want it to be completely silent, so I'm just gonna pull up
Okay.
some frequencies.
Gorgeous.
Mm, all right, all right, all right. I'm just gonna mute for 1 second.
Okay. Peace, Mo. Welcome, Sistren. It's good to see some familiar faces in the chat where Natou is getting aligned to work with the Reiki. So she's going to bring in some Reiki for the Lionsgate. And I'll be looking at some cards. They're already kind of pre-pulled. So we're just going to wait while she gets the frequencies ready. And thank you for joining, Sistrens. And Brethrens, if there are Brethrens still out there. I'm not sure who's still active in the chat.
I'm just waiting for my speaker to come up.
Okay.
I did put away some of my things because I have my event tomorrow, so I didn't realize. I was like, "Oh, where's my lighter? Where's this?"
Celebrate.
So yeah, I'm just waiting for this to.
All
I
right.
should actually clip this microphone here. Okay. All right. This speaker, if it doesn't queue up in the next minute, I'll just have to offer the Reiki silently. Just gonna give it a moment though. I think it's up. Hold on a second. All right, so the music has been queued up. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the Reiki healing. So we'll go for about 5 to 7. I'll say 5. Yeah, 5 or 6 minutes, and we're gonna begin now. Okay. That concludes the Reiki healing portion of our pop up. Uh, that was, whoa. Okay, that was short, but listen, um, there was a lot of liberation energy going on there. Um, there was a bit of my cat, every time especially in these last couple of, yeah, like when I've been tapping in with the energies, like a lot of Leonine energies coming through, and my cat just running in my space to inspect the vibes or to reunite with his with his loved ones.
Everything.
He's been like shaking the door during the Reiki session. Like he's like, I want to come in, I want to see my people. Um yeah, like so in this Reiki session, they were showing a lot of souls returning home. This portal is extremely powerful. um I'm getting like guiding light. uh liberated souls. They just showed like, and I'm talking about masses of people, masses of spirits. You know, everyone's different. Everyone has their own journeys, even after they transition. So this was very beautiful to see these what they showed me. Um Water was coming into mind as well, but just a cleansing energy. This felt very higher dimensional cleansing. It's a different level. So yeah, this was very angelic, very angelic. I definitely called in Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael for this particular Reiki transmission, Reiki healing. And I give thanks. And so, yeah, I hope, any of you guys or those who will be connecting with it in the future after we post, definitely, I hope this Reiki helped to bring in that clarity or those liberation vibes, because it was heavy on liberation, heavy on returning home, souls finally getting to rest or reunite with other loved ones, soul family. So I give thanks, Ashe.
I give thanks, Ashe. That was beautiful. Beautiful. I feel so much less in the way of pressure that I was feeling after that Reiki session. So I don't know, man. Thank you. Thank you, girl. I guess I'll get into the reading and then maybe we can talk about like more about some of what you saw when you were doing the session and then what comes up in the reading. I think it was like all of the yes that you called in Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael. I've also been working with them quite a bit today with some of these energies, and I did see a lot of spirits, not necessarily spirits that were saying anything to me, but I was seeing a lot of spirits on the other side. So when you say that spirits returning home, I don't know. I think there could be a discussion that could be had about that because the liberation energy. Now that you're mentioning it, it makes a lot more sense with some of what I was feeling, and I feel like some of these souls like have needed or been seeking to return to higher frequencies for some time, and there were false frequencies attempting to prevent that. So I think like if you're open to it, maybe we can talk a little bit more about that after we
Yeah,
read these
absolutely.
cards. Um, I'll read them off, y'all, before I get into them. But the what I really love about what came out for this spread, which is focusing on expansion energies in this Lionsgate and bringing in light to the pathways, is elevated standards. So the card elevated standards is a 21st card in an unreleased deck that I work with, the Hearthfire Oracle. Um, Get Right is jumping out at me on this card, and Kindred Investments is also jumping out at me, as well as Know Your Worth. The 21 in the classic numerology book, Cairo's Book of Numbers, does talk about getting past hard times. Like at the 21, like the hard times are behind you. You're beyond it. Um, this card has like a lot of gray in it, but the 21 is in gold. Elevated Standards is in white. Get Right is in gold. High Value Options is in gold, and Know Your Worth and Kindred Investments are in white. What I feel is the overall energies before I get into the other cards that this is speaking about is like what's actually accessible to you, that it's coming to mind like these speaks of the dreams of your ancestors for hundreds of years, decades, a lot of what we actually have access to. And I think that's a very humbling point to turn the attention to, right? We can have setbacks and disappointments, but if we look back to what our forebears have been through, it's really nothing like what they went through to make it possible for us to have access to pathways where we can achieve a great deal. some of it really is just one foot in front of the other, which is something that's definitely come up today. And I have another uh, Lionsgate read that I'm gonna be posting later to the Rumble channel for Love Beans and Lo-Fi. But that came up, that sort of energy. We are dealing with South Node in Virgo energies. Um, our routines, our habits, why we have certain routines and habits, all of these things can kind of come to bear. The other cards showing up are Sacred Electricity, Planting a Seed, and Slow and Steady for the actual expansion energy. We also have Finding Myself in You as the reward energy. That's from the Kiss Oracle. And the Sacred Renewal card, Sacred Mothers from the Sublime Vibes Oracle as a level up card. And the other level up card is a Lyran card, Meta Ecstatic Roads. Um, Sacred Electricity being the activation card is really talking about getting the chi flowing in your body again. Some of this, the easiest way to do this may be with physical activity. And it's not to say that you're not physically active, that you're not moving your body around to at least some extent throughout the day to get things done. But this is speaking to a vibration of wanting to, and not kind of dragging yourself around or being in a sluggishness, but actually having something to be excited about, moving towards something, having a goal, and applying the passion within you. And some of that passion may or may not need to be rekindled, because we have been through a lot in this society. And there's been rather a lot that came up in society kind of trying to make it seem like things are just going to be so hard to achieve. But we still, it comes to mind, we still have access to the very same tools, right, that we did, 5 or 6 years ago, and then some in some cases for those tools anyways that arose that are actually healthy, where we can make it towards our goals, or achieve the heights that we perceive. Mind over matter, it's is still the order of the day, right? It's still about mind over matter, with honor to the Kybalion, looking at universal law, first law, all is mind. It's all going to have a great deal to do with your mindset. How you move is aligned with a mindset. And we have been breaking a lot of generational patterns. So some of the things that can come up in our lineage, we are meant to transmute and alchemize. And that's like everybody actually on the planet. We're coming in and we have the opportunity to go along with certain patterns that pre-existed in the etheric weave that we incarnated into, or we can transmute some of those energies and we can make a new pathway. And in making that new pathway, we're increasing future probabilities of success in different arenas, and adding to just different pathways of success that other souls who are in the family line or come into the family line can now access, because the door has been opened. And I think this is a really important point to raise. Elevated standards as the overall energy with this, with Sacred Electricity being the first card, the activation card, is really speaking to moving towards what's waiting for you. And what I love about this and what's hopeful about this is, like, it's waiting for you. The arrangements have been made. I feel Archangel Raphael's energy very strongly on this. And I feel like a very, I guess you could say, subtle energy with Archangel Gabriel as well, where, like, you never know who you're going to end up in the same room with and start a conversation that it was arranged for you to meet. Um, you don't know these things. So if you're going with the mindset of the past that, oh, well, these things only happened every now and again, or these things haven't happened yet, I'm actually not going to say that you can actually repeat past cycle energies, because I think it's going to get harder and harder to do past cycle things. I don't think there's going to be a lot of energy that's connected, it's in connection with old habits, unless these are empowered older habits that you've had. It's going to be important to get out there and catalyze more energy, get your energy moving around goals, get your energy moving towards what excites you. Working with Amethyst, working with Violet Flame can help you out a great deal to free up your path from just any energies that are burdensome or really thick and mired that you don't really need to be dealing with anymore. It may take a little bit of extra time to do, but it can free you up, even if you're not noticing it while you're working with these energies. Maybe it takes a day, or two or three or four, it is going to get through those densities. But it's remember when you're working with energy that it took time for the current manifest emanation to be what it is. There are actions and steps and thoughts. There's deeds that went into whatever we're dealing with, what we wake up to. We're waking up to patterns, right, that have been wrought before. And if you're looking to bring light to the more empowered patterns, I think that's going to get easier and easier, especially past like next Friday. We are working through some energies. There is still retrograde energy until about I think Mercury goes direct on the 11th. So we are dealing with past energies, especially mental framework energies. And these mental framework energies can have to do with like how you present yourself, how you perform, where you show up in the pecking order, right? With just as where you showed up in the pecking order as a child, even. Um, with Mercury being in retrograde, and it started in a critical degree of 15 degrees, which is not always easy. There can be a feeling like you must act now, even if you don't feel prepared, you don't feel ready. I would counsel like around these energies, remember to meditate with golden light, call in Archangel Michael, get in alignment with your chi, get in alignment with the cosmic reality of your destined heights, and then see about approaching your goals. Get empowered first, get aligned, before moving towards the goals. It'll make it easier with some of these energies. Sacred electricity, I feel like this can come through a compliment, that can get your system going. This can come through, maybe you have some sort of service, and there's like a donation that comes in, or someone sends you a gift. I don't know, you could be at work and someone thought about you and bought donuts. There can be an energy coming in from others that helps to get this going. Especially if you really needed it. You have the etheric tantra card and Kiss Forever as the I'm sorry, the etheric tantra higher frequency and Kiss Forever as the shared supported baseline for sacred electricity. This is really speaking about an empowered sacral chakra, willingness to be received. If you're not sitting in a willingness to be received, I definitely recommend like getting sun, drinking a lot of water, working with some of the Virgo energy at the South Node to work through some potentially ingrained things, that don't need to be holding up your path anymore because they're not relevant in the same way anymore. And bringing in nutrients into your system, bringing in light into your system is very much going to help you to regain control, like as far as higher frequency is concerned, of your system. And you have the right to do this. You have free will. Planting a seed follows sacred electricity, and I think some of this energy that's coming through with the Lionsgate right now is speaking of like a kick-starting type of energy of you getting into an alignment where you can kind of self-start more often. Some of you may be self-starters, and then you might have found that difficult in the past, like 2 to 4 years at times, because there was a lot going on, y'all. We had so many retrogrades. We were dealing with a Pluto and Capricorn transit, which is now a Pluto and Aquarius transit. There was a lot to wade through. But the way these energies are moving now is to get into the joy of what you're doing. Bring in associations of joy for what you're doing. Kind of like, oh, you gotta clean the house, turn some music on. Take joy in what you do. That's how you're gonna bring light and energy to the pathways of whatever it is you're working on. I am also seeing lion. Um, they're showing me sheep too. Spirit is showing me sheep. I saw lion, sheep, and hummingbird. So you can look into the lion energies, you can look at the sheep energies and hummingbird. And I feel like, lion energy, for me, like Lyra comes up big time, and it's also very huge for the Lionsgate. Um, I feel like being proud of yourself, being proud of your lineage, and I'm not talking about a negative pride, but you exist for a reason. So stand with that appreciation for your own existence. Um, I think what I'm picking up with sheep is really just like that you are cared for. Keep that in mind. You are cared for, you are tended to. Like if you can't self-direct at any given time, like you will be divinely you will be divinely directed to the degree that you're open to it. And sometimes even if you're not open to it, because the type of times we're in, there are going to be moments like pivotal changes taking place where the writing's going to be on the wall for nearly everyone. So the messages will come through, and if you're open to them, like you'll receive and you'll be able to move with more light of step, more light in your step. We have the slow and steady card as the expansion card. I feel like the more patient you are with whatever it is you're seeking to do, the faster it's actually going to go. But if you're dragging your heels through it, that's when it can really take on a heavier type of density feeling to it. So extra time in preparation to be prepared for something you're going to do will give you extra juice to get it done. I think like moving towards fall, these things will get even more easier, whatever you may be working on for your goals and projects. And I think by like December, January, I think it's going to be quite easy to handle the things that you need to handle. But I think right now there could be like preteen, adolescent patterns of seeking approval from peers. And I'm not saying you're actively doing this, but these things can be in the energy that you're dealing with right now. And this can make it challenging if you're finding yourself thinking a little too long about how you're being perceived. It might be better to just focus on coming as you are and knowing that you're perfectly acceptable rather than being too concerned with the approval of others. um, and this can be like earlier childhood wounds and that sort of thing that can pop up at times. You have the finding myself in you reward card. Heart opening is the higher frequency, and etheric tantra is the shared supportive baseline. I feel like there are energies freeing up the pathways of understanding, of forgiveness, of letting the past be the past. And I think this is absolutely essential in a lot of cases to open the road. I think some of these roads got blocked by misunderstandings, and some of these really feel like orchestrated misunderstandings. I think there's an aspect of realizing, I want to say, like how much we have in common, how much you have in common with your fellow man, like that kind of energy. Not celebrating that you're an individual, but not to the extent that you're cut off from the group unnecessarily. There's an aspect of the water being warm in social circles that you enter, as opposed to the past. There's an aspect of it getting harder and harder for those who want to make things unpalatable for people, like pseudo trolls or whatever, that want to pop up in social circles, or the ones that want to be detractors of energy. They're going to be looking more and more like asinine. And it's not going to garner the kind of attention that they're seeking, because I do think people are just going to become more inclined to ignore those energies, and start to look towards like who's actually generating the energy that's feel good and is contributing to the group. I do think there's going to be more energy dealing with the hard hitting issues that folks don't always want to talk about, with more of a serious lens. I think there'll be like just a lot less of the confusion. I think that's like in the works. There was a lot of craziness with astroturfing, like with the AI and that kind of thing. Spam bots and comments, things of that nature, just making the internet a mess and making like navigating navigating how we communicate with others in the world a mess. But Uranus went into Gemini on July 7th, and so we're bound to have an overhaul in areas of communication. It's long overdue, and there were some rather entrenched energies that's being dealt with, albeit not overnight from what is coming through. But by December, there will be much more clarity in areas of communication, much more ease of use. It'll be easier to access the things you're seeking to access. Um, and I feel like it's through a number of options. So instead of like the strong arm, you've got to use this platform, you've got to use that, you've got to use that. Like I feel like that had its season, and it was a horrible season. Um, I think it's there is going to be more of an ease of finding what you want to use as opposed to feeling like you're being dragged, over to, I don't know, something that someone else wants you to use, and you're having to use it because they want you to, but you know you're doing it begrudgingly. I think there are more doors that are prepping themselves to open. It just may take a little bit of time. Um, I also feel like social outings moving towards September are going to regain a kind of magic to them again, where people are feeling less isolated. So that's like awesome that that's coming through. Um, the Lyra Meta Ecstatic Roads card and Sacred Renewal, Sacred Mothers. Be unafraid to be nurtured. You are beloved. There are guardians who watch over you. It is okay to like journal your feelings. Get it out, identify what's bothering you. Like eventually, right, that has to be done when it comes to it. We eventually have to address what's bothering us. We could do it earlier in a situation, or earlier in some energies, or we can wait and really drag it out, and it's still going to be something we're going to have to face anyways. um, I feel like divine counsel, like really turning your direction, turning your like your woes towards the direction, you know what I'm saying, of those who watch over you, and trusting in the care and the support that's available to assist you. And this may be, needed for some of you who tune in either for the live or later, upon the replay. Um, Props to Riri. This could be moving towards December or January, into March for some of you. The Meta Ecstatic Roads cards is talking about timeline adjustments to timelines, and how some days you're gonna probably, moving past Wednesday, coming up from the time of this reading, you're probably gonna be having some days where you wake up with like accelerated energy, mental clarity, but then 2 days pass, and I'm not saying strictly 2 days, but like 2 days can pass after that, and you're feeling a little sluggish, and you're like, what happened? This has to do with your energy body learning to come into balance, on the higher light anchored densities, from what I'm being told. And it's going to take time. So be kind with yourself, be gentle with yourself. And some of the, I feel like some of the problems we've gotten into in society is just the rushing in general. So you don't want to rush this because it's a balancing directive. And you'll feel better if you're not rushing. Just when you have the extra energy to move towards something, then that's a great time to get things done. And if you're feeling a little more so sluggish, then you may have to have frequent breaks and work a little slower to get things done. And it's absolutely okay. Just make sure you're taking care of you. Back to the and those are the, by the way, what I just read are, these are suggestion cards basically for leveling up. Um, just, just so y'all know, that's not necessarily predictive, but it's, if you want to work best with these energies, um, then you'd want to kind of follow that advice. And before closing out, this Lionsgate energy is aligning you with your destined roads. And the only one who can stop this from being as resplendent as it can be is you. So this is something maybe in your reflections, to your meditations, to consider, without beating yourself up, without saying, why do I do this or that, or why do I have these habits, in a self-denigrating way, in a calm way, as if you were talking to a child, your inner child perhaps. Allow yourself to address what perhaps has caused you to move a little slower towards certain things, or self-sabotage at times. Um, because you can be filled, your cup can be filled, and the universe is attempting to do that, but has been met with resistance when attempting to do that. And so these are the patterns ultimately that we're seeking to cause to fade, you know in collective consciousness at this time, where we're able to heal, enough that we can acknowledge what hurt, and we're not reluctant to move past those grooves in the record of our conditioning, or just traumas that we've dealt with. But we're able to say, okay, I'm going to take that one step away from the trauma, now two, now three, right? What's happened has happened in our lives, but if we're able to put our hand on the doorknob and then turn the doorknob and then open the door, we can begin to explore higher levels of our consciousness. And I strongly believe that's what Uranus and Gemini energy is about. In this transit, we're leaving Uranus and Taurus energy. If people are like, why is it feeling so dense? And a lot of energies came up in Uranus and Taurus transit that have to do with self value, or issues that have interrupted our self value or our concept of even being valuable. And this can have to do with groups, because a sign that Uranus contemporarily has rulership over is Aquarius. So, if we dealt with this with family or peers in our youth, coworkers, wherever it's popped up, these wounds don't just like disappear. But we can work through them, and with every win and every brave act of stepping past a fear, we access higher levels of self. And I feel like this Lionsgate is all about that, and it's turbocharged with assistance. Should you look into the direction of the assistance and be willing to move along your path, with heart lighter than a feather, to know that really, like, the only thing to fear is fear. It's that kind of energy. And there is freedom, as you maybe get out of patterns that are represent mental confines, like, at the head level. I give thanks for y'all's presence. I hope you found that helpful. And that concludes our look into Lionsgate energies. You got this. There are opportunities waiting, some of the highlights of what came up. There are opportunities waiting, but this is a mindset thing, you know? It's important that we align mentally with the opportunities, and not discount that they're actually available. And that is it for me with the read.
Gratitude.
Thank you, sister.
Gratitude, yes. Thank you for that amazing, thorough reading. Um,
Thank you,
yes,
sister.
it was definitely needed. Lots of confirmations. Um, I think this is just, sometimes I watched a video of it was Tiana Taylor, and it was a clip of, I guess, an interview, and she was talking about, like, when do you know that you're done, like, when you're ready to move, and she's not talking about timelines, but we could kind of connect it to that, like, when will someone be ready to move on to the next level? And she was mentioning, like, when you've exhausted all efforts and you're not going to go back to the old timeline, the old energy. And so I think that works for her. And, everyone's different. Some people, all they have to do is see one red flag and they're out. Others might need to be in the trenches for a little bit longer. And I'm like, I think it's great that she's identified her, like, the best pathway for her that's healthy. And I think this Lionsgate is definitely asking us, like, what's your breaking point? Like, what is your, and maybe it doesn't need to be as dramatic as a breaking point, but, like, what's your line? So, I think that's probably one of the things that's going to be coming up as well. In addition to a lot of the things that you've covered, people just kind of getting, leaning in with, with the, or, you working with the Syrian energies, the Leo energies, the, empowerment, not letting people play in your face, like, just, having experiences where people are just, like, maybe undermining your worth, underpaying, in a lot of situations where people work, like, underpaying, being undervalued. I just, this is necessary. This is very necessary because too many people have been taken advantage of in different ways, in different environments. And so I'm just really grateful that this portal energy is present. And I think everyone should be taking the time to work with it, be silent with it, meditate with it, You had also mentioned tapping into the joy energies, working with yellow. I definitely was on my calendula teas today. And I wore yellow.
Girl, yes.
Yeah, I wore yellow today. I forgot it was a Lionsgate. I was on transit and I was like, oh my God, today's Lionsgate and I wore yellow. So definitely in alignment. And it was great. Like there were some synchronicities taking place. The weather, like I mentioned before, the weather on the East Coast has been phenomenal this past week. And going into this weekend, really good weather. It just feels like a really nice refresher. So yeah, honor your solar plexus. It could feel like for those who are just now looking at it, taking the time with it could feel like a very like feline stretch, like the way like when a cat is about to like go on a chase or stalk a little, I guess stalk a toy for a little bit. It gets into like the dog, what is it, the dog child's pose position. Like it feels like that. It's like get that good stretch in and start to enjoy your life. So yeah, gratitude. And tomorrow's the full moon, right?
Um, Girl, I do not have it in front of me. I will have to look.
I
And I'm
I
not sure if I can
saw.
do that with the current screen.
I think you can. Well, let me see. I'm gonna.
Could be. I can't hear you if you're meaning to talk.
Oh yeah, I switched screens. So I guess when I'm on another screen, you won't be able to hear. But let me take a quick look. Okay, so it's saying there is going to be a full moon tomorrow in Capricorn.
Ooh, girl, and does it feel like that? It feels like that. Yeah, I'll be getting on the report. I will be hopping on that report for the moonbeams at vibegarden.org. Little www.vibegarden.org plug. Um, wow. Do you know what degree? Does it say what degree?
Okay, hold on, because this I think I had the wrong information. One article said Capricorn and another is saying Aquarius. So now I'm trying to. I don't know if it's in the middle because
I
isn't.
would go to AstroSeek. I
Yeah,
would like, yeah,
the,
because they're a little better.
the degrees might be off with these different websites. So I'm gonna go to AstroSeek and see because, yeah, like, okay, hold on. I think when
Yeah,
I
they got the moon. There's a moon section, so if you click on that, then you can scroll down, and it'll show
actually,
you where the new moon is, where the full moon is.
yeah, let me do it on my laptop because if I switch out, you're not gonna hear me. So let me
Okay.
use my laptop while it's in front of me. Okay. Um, hopefully my Wi-Fi is working. Okay, it's working. I know that's right. Okay. All right. So at moon phase for August, it's saying August 9th, full moon in Aquarius. The
Okay.
degree, hold on. It might be it might be really close to, okay, no, it's
It
saying the
probably
degrees,
is.
16 degrees of, hold on, 16 degrees.
16 degrees of Aquarius.
Yeah.
That's emotional, y'all. I mean, it doesn't have to be negative. The numerology of the day. It's a Saturn ruled day. It's a 9. That's Mars.
Mm-hmm.
But towards self empowerment. The 16th degree for the moon to be in Aquarius, the full moon at that this could catalyze some kind of change in patterns. I wouldn't say, I would say probably a long build up to a change in patterns. I think it could also prompt discussions, like
Mhm.
things that need to be said. You know, I'm not sure what the aspects are because I'm not looking at the chart that the moon is actually having, but
Yeah.
it's a breakthrough energy, and it would be needed because these energies. So that means we're in Moon and Capricorn energies right now, and I definitely didn't check the astrology for that today. Um, and that would explain these
Yeah.
energies. That would
That's probably why
explain,
you picked up
yeah,
on it, cuz it was the moon went in Capricorn starting August 6th through today.
yep,
So you're probably still picking up on the the remnants of that energy. They're saying it's just so interesting. Let me see what they're saying here. Um sir okay. Yeah, just to kind of read the summary on here, it's very similar to what you're saying. It's saying here your relationship with your emotions might be more complicated because the moon is in Aquarius. It has a strong need for emotional freedom. However, when you are in a group of people, it's easier for you to understand your feelings and free yourself from negative emotions such as fear, anger, and jealousy. That's exactly what came through in your reading, girl. That is
yep. It be
beautiful.
in there because these are, I've
Yeah.
noticed that with readings, like whether you pull cards or whether you're doing the astrology, pretty much this. I feel like the same messages are gonna come through. You might get a little bit more out of the cards. You might get a little bit more out of
Mhm.
a chart or what have you. But I think like we're tapping into the energies that are popping up, that we're dealing with it, that we're feeling, and we're trying to put a name to, like, okay, what is this or what is that? And I know with like the energies today, girl. Had I known it was winning Capricorn, maybe I could have prepared a little bit more. Cause girl, like, yeah, yes, I've the density of it was quite a lot earlier today, and I was really
mhm.
relying on a lot. I've been relying on a lot of divine guidance, angelic guidance. There was keep giving it to, give it to Archangel. Like things were coming up, and it was like, give it to Archangel Raphael, give it to Archangel Raphael, give it to Archangel
Mhm.
Raphael, and it makes a lot of sense, because I feel like a lot of those earthy focuses, I've experienced that it comes up. Archangel Raphael comes up a lot with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And even the which one was it? Oh my goodness, was it Destin Heights? I can't remember which card it was. Forgive me, y'all, because I put the cards away. But the theme card, I'm looking for it because I want
Mhm.
to say it the right way. But that reminds me very much of Capricorn. If it's actually going to pop up while I'm looking, because girl. But yeah, the Aquarian energy tomorrow, I think, will help, especially conceptually. I think it's gonna
Yeah.
help. Like there might be some elevated standards. Yeah, the elevated
Mm.
standards card, that is so Capricorn,
Mhm.
so Capricorn. But it does require like realizing like these things are waiting for you. That arrangements have been made. It could be things you've been working on, things that you're just not aware that are gonna be made available to you. Unexpected release from perceived or actual energetic bondage. People showing up for you, right? Like someone could be in a situation where they're being like emotionally bullied, and then unexpectedly someone shows up for them, and like the whoever the bully is just really has to kind of fade off from whatever they were trying to do because someone else checked them on it. And I do think that will be one of the ways that we'll see more change in society in the next 7 years, is just like in the small situations. People, they see something that's not right and they actually say something in the moment instead of like pulling out their camera and not doing anything. Not saying that's been everybody, because there are definitely people who would step up, but um, what comes to mind is a vibration of society will get changed when we change it. And I don't know that it's going to be all about like using rage, because that's how we got right where we're sitting. That's what how these energies got mired, was a lot of rage baiting. I think this is gonna have to be like each one teach one communal efforts type C's.
I definitely agree. This is about reclaiming one's light and letting that emanate unapologetically. And interestingly enough, we were talking about like fitting into groups or being accepted and things like that. Um, it's that came up. I mean, earlier we were kind of talking about it via text, or there was a video you shared, and that black sheep energy. Interesting that sheep came in as an
It
animal
definitely
totem.
is. I was
Hmm.
not expecting that. I don't think I've ever had sheep come up in any reading I've
Yeah.
ever done. Yeah.
Yeah, now that I'm saying that, it's like and so then I recent like today, earlier this evening or whatever, one of my parents reached out and was basically talking about, how there are still people in the family that are like, oh, what does she do? Is she involved in ritual work, or the black magics. They're just assuming because they see certain pictures, and she's trying to like, and I'm just like, this is another this is I mean, going through my parents is always infuriating because they're of a certain generation where fitting in is everything, and appearances are everything. And I'm just like really very much consistently ten toes down on what the divine put in me, and knowing that what I deal with and what I involve myself with is forever light work energy, with the angelics, with my sacred ancestors, always honoring my lineage and what came before certain structures, religious structures. So like, I know where I'm at, and I'm trying to communicate that to them, because I think sometimes it's easy for them to get sucked into what is accepted. No matter what they know, it's always like, oh my God, how can we show up as a family unit or as a collective where no one will think that we're bad people? And it's like, that is not our responsibility, even for us ourselves. Anyone out there who's listening to this, if you feel you're like not accepted by your family or by certain group dynamics, if you feel like you've been evolving consistently for like some years now, and you're realizing like certain people don't want to be around you, or they are looking at you strange, like, honestly, there's an alignment taking place. um I think at the very minute, like at the very least, people should be respectful. And if people are very concerned about your well-being, then they should be able to come to you face to face and express those concerns, and for there to be a conversation, because I feel like the biggest issue is a lack of communication and assumptions, and um like kind of connecting other people's stories where they have had negative experiences to situations that haven't even happened yet, or like just kind of making their own narratives. And interestingly enough, a lot of the people in these family dynamics are themselves involved in the ritual work that they claim that the person is doing. It is
Girl,
sort
that is
of
a
like,
topic.
you
Yes.
know because and I brought up the example of people who cheat, or cheaters, people who are like, who actively cheat, and or narcissists who will blame their partner for doing it, knowing good and damn well that they're doing it. And it's a serial sort of cheating, because they themselves know all the tricks, they do all the things. So it's like, yeah, people who themselves, their hands are dirty, they're going to blame, they're going to project upon other people. And so I I've just kind of had to kind of communicate that to my loved ones, and like tell them like, yo, don't let people make you feel any kind of way because I'm walking in my truth. And I asked them, I said, when's the last time they've cooked food for their neighbors? When's the last time they've sent money back to the islands to assist people? All they do is they sit and watch what other people are doing and try to cast judgment. And like, you can't just cast judgment and not do anything for like the collective. Like I can't respect people like that. So I don't know. I think we could definitely get
Definitely.
into this particular topic. It's a huge topic. We probably will
Mm-hmm.
make that its own episode, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that came up. That was definitely a thing that came up today. Social, like fitting in or being
Mm-hmm.
accepted. And I'm like, I've been there, done that. You know, I would always get super upset when I would hear like people kind of coming through like, oh, someone certain people are watching you and they're thinking you're this. And I'm like, so what? There's so much happening in the world. Like there's so much taking place. Um for me to be born with what I've been born with, like that would not have even been put in me if I were going to listen to what other people were going to say. There's no way I would make it. I wouldn't be here. I'd be in
Oh,
some
same,
sort of a
girl.
depression.
Same. Mm-hmm.
There has to be like standing 10 toes down. Cuz what's the point then? What is the point? So definitely, walk in your truth consistently, and you're going to find your soul tribe, you're going to find your people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it might not come from your family, but like it's going to feel even better when it comes from, yeah, it feels great to come from loved ones, but it's even better when it comes from people who don't know you, and they are literally experiencing you for the first time, and they're seeing a light in you, and they're not blowing smoke, up, your rear end,
Yeah.
because they literally are just simply experiencing you, and they're seeing the light, and they're like, oh my god, like they really, they don't owe you anything. They don't owe you a compliment, they don't owe you flowers, but they're giving it to you because it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And so honor that, so
Actual facts.
yes.
Very, very powerful. Very powerful. Like what you brought up, just I don't know. It's making me think of some things that maybe I should be going into reflection about, because I think a lot of these energies are about times where we weren't supported, and even right with the revealing that the moon's in Capricorn, that is a sign, right? My natal moon, right? Like I know a little something, right, about being an earth moon. For the moon to be in Capricorn, those times where we have felt alone, but we really are not. Those times when we think we're alone, like the divine, like the ultimate, network, right? The divine network is available. And that might just sound like words to some people, but when you're going through a hard time, there is nothing like that. There's nothing like realizing you're actually not alone, and how very real it is and how very moving it is on a soul level. And I think there are a number of people who need that right now, because some of the energies, just watching them play out, and that's a topic probably for another day. Um, it was such a ham-fisted attempt of throwing spaghetti at the wall to get people in like the lowest vibrating energy possible. Um, I think like as we move forward, there needs to be more encouragement, like what you're talking about, for others to know, like, yes, please do be you. And and you don't have to put on airs, and people don't have to put on airs, they don't have to put on a facade. It doesn't have to be extra sparkly, but just bringing you to the table. I mean, the ultimate act of facing the group. Pluto's in Aquarius right now for a while, because it's a long transit. And as an as an energy, this gives us an opportunity to transform our relationship with groups. And we may very, very badly need to do that. Even any energies that may have come up for anyone today, who may be tuning in, right? Even if you're tuning in later, you could think, oh yeah, on the Lionsgate, the energies that were coming up for me. whether it was in direct contact with other people or it was just within, something you've been struggling with within, questions or whys, or why do I have to go through this, or why has it been landing this way, or where is my energy. I experienced some cord cutting, because I do call on the angelics. I call on archangels for assistance with cord cutting, and to feel the difference when whomever was on my energy was taken off of my energy was like night and day. It was these moments. It was like moments of just, I don't know. My jaw could have hit the floor, because it's like sometimes if you're not paying close attention to your energetic hygiene and you're wondering where your energy went, the question then becomes like, well, who has it then? And when we look at like how the news cycles have tried to get us at the edge of our seat every single day, like just the insanity that we've passed through in the past 4 years with that, it comes down to attention and the value of attention and what kind of attention even that you're giving yourself. Sometimes we look for, we might want to receive attention from others in a certain kind of way, but we might have to lead the way with that. We might have to set a precedent with how we're treating ourselves. So I think like some of what's coming up in these energies, definitely there is family stuff and community stuff and friendship based stuff, um, interactivity with other people. But I think the relationship on an inner child level that we have with ourselves is what's under construction. And the Sacred Mothers card did come up. I do think like I think it's like the Sacred Renewal card, Sacred Mothers. I think that that is what needs to happen. But I think this is a sacred renewal that I don't know that it's meant to happen alone. And in a way, like just even as I'm talking, I think like what's happening in the energies is an energy of it's safe to come out now, right? Like whatever part of us has been felt like we've had to go to like a room in the back of our consciousness, and not fully be at the forefront because just whatever effery was going on, in the collective energies. It's like it's safe to come out now, even if it doesn't feel safe to come out now. It's safe to come out now because it's time. It's almost like we have to, because sitting at the back of our energies for too long is we're not getting enough light. But yeah, those are some thoughts I had on what you were sharing. I think there's going to be tons of opportunities to run into people who have opinions upon opinions upon opinions, that really don't have to mean anything about your path or what you're aligned with or what your goals are. And I think those probably have been a lot of the opponents that maybe because of childhood conditioning, we may have had some fears when it comes to like walking by them or while being who we are. You know what I'm saying? But it's time. I think it's time to. I think it's like time in a way where like even if it still feels scary, it's probably one of the easier times that might come up like right in one's personal history. So I celebrate those who are stepping forward in this energy and making it happen. The self getting into the self actualization, regardless, of who it seems might support or who might not support, because it's time for the light to hydrate your vessel and your pathways.
Ashe. Definitely needed. We need these blessings, and again, it just feels like a reset. So definitely take advantage of these potential energies. I feel like ancestrally is like a lot of optimism.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be a great time to just pour something out for the ancestors. Um, you know, speak
Yes,
well.
so important.
Yeah, speak, think about good memories of them, and I don't know, put some flowers if for anyone who has like ancestral altars, or would like to put flowers. I think that would be beautiful. Um this is just even like honoring your parents, or in the way that you can. Just the energies feel good for that. So I don't know, I'm just kind of the energy's coming in, so I'm just relaying it. um and yeah, I think I think I am full on what has come through in terms of, or I feel set on what has come through on my end.
Yes.
Do you have any other messages or anything? I think we should share some of like what we got going on before we conclude.
Oh yeah,
Mm,
I like that. Well, I want to say I absolutely have loved this live.
same.
I'm glad. I'm glad we hopped in. We damn sure circled the pool. We were circling the pool. Like we did not just jump in, but
Yeah.
there was an attempt to do so. So I mean, there was a lot going on, but I'm
Mhm.
so glad. Like it feels good. So I want to say that. Thank you for everyone who came through to show support. Much appreciated. Appreciate y'all. I hope you feel like you got something good out of it. If you're late to joining this, you can go back and start from the beginning with the live. There is a Reiki session up in here, courtesy of Miss Natou Ma'at, and I did a reading for the Lionsgate energies, especially in regards to expansion and adding light to the pathways, with honor and respect to the divine, to the ancestors, to our cosmic guardians. Um, I guess I'll turn the mic over to you in regards to things that are coming up, because I do have some things coming up, but I'm not quite ready to announce it. Y'all can keep an eye on Love Beams and Love Beams and Lo-Fi. It's LUVBEAMSANDLOFI over on Rumble. Or you can just go to www.vibegarden.org to see what we got going on. There are posts there. There's a membership, so some of these posts are restricted unless you're a member, but it's like $1.11 a month for membership, and it comes with discounts for those who do end up wanting to tap into reading sessions and that sort of things. But I do post things for visitors as well. And I guess that is pretty much it. You can look to the shop, though, for the Healing with Angel Sigils book, which you might find particularly useful in these energies. And that is on www.vibegarden.org through the green vibes and sessions button on the front page of the site. And then just click on the shop tab if you're looking for that book in particular. And I'm turning the mic over to you, Natu, and thank you again. I don't know, this was just everything.
Yes, I too enjoyed the space. I love a good pop up, and so we're definitely going to be doing more. Look out for
Mm-hmm.
a more, I guess, structured announcement of what Love and I are going to be doing on this Healing Lights page. For those who know, we were doing Healing Lights uh, collaborative healing light spaces on Clubhouse, which included the angelic healing, Reiki healing, collective messages, taking reading requests, and just getting into the vibes of the month. And it is a community offering, and we're just trying to bring it over to YouTube. We were bringing the collective readings, the recordings onto YouTube, but now we're just going to be bringing the actual live sessions on here, and some other things, some other cool announcements. So we're just preparing ourselves, and we're very excited. And we also individually have things going on. So Love had just mentioned all of the services and offerings she has on www.vibegarden.org. And myself, my website is bynatalieetienne.com. You can find all this information in the description below after this is officially posted. I do offer distance Reiki sessions. So you can be anywhere in the world, and I will be able to offer you a full 1 hour Reiki session with divine messages included, with anything that your ancestors are wanting to relay during that session, and post care tips. I do also offer readings. I do offer discounts for students. So if you are like a college student, just send me a copy of like your student ID. That's pretty much it. And then we can move forward with the price. But everything's listed on my page. There are some spiritual tools available on the online shop. For those who live in Brooklyn, in New York, I am going to be offering mini Reiki healing sessions in not Fort Greene, I'm sorry, in is it Crown Heights? I'm sorry, it's on Franklin Avenue. It's off of Eastern Parkway, so it's Crown Heights. Um it's going to be like I would say 15 to 20-minute sessions, and I'm not going to be doing readings. There's going to be another sister in doing readings, so just to kind of keep the energy balance out there, I'm just only going to be doing Reiki. But if you want, you can book a session with me that day. So only tomorrow there'll be $10 off future sessions. Um, Even if you are booking online, even if you're not in New York and you can't show up, if you'd like to book a session, either a Reiki session or a reading session with me, you get $10 off any day. Like you can just book it any day, but you just have to book it tomorrow. Um, what else is going on? There might be some other announcements, but I'm just gonna keep this short because those things are also in the works. And so once it's confirmed, I'll put a post on YouTube on the Healing Lights message board. And yeah, that is pretty much all I have to announce. Oh, the next Healing Lights is going to be on August 21st. That is a Thursday. We will be here on YouTube. So if there's anyone from Clubhouse tuning in, I don't know that we're going to be able to have both, if we're going to be present on both platforms at the same time. I don't know. It might be a bit difficult, so we're just going to be on YouTube. So bring yourself to this platform, get comfortable and cozy. This is where we're going to be. It's looking like this is going to be the new spot. Um, and it's going to be at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard. Um, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for allowing me to share some of my announcements, and thank you for thank you to everyone for being here, for adding to the space. Happy Lionsgate.
Happy Lionsgate.
Happy Lionsgate. This is a special one. It feels really good. Like if you're
Yes.
tapping into the good of it, it's
Strong.
really good.
Yes, it does. It feels very strong. Thank you so much for clarifying that. I mean, we might be able to start a clubhouse room to
Yeah.
pop a link if it's possible to make the live link in advance, and then just let folks know, like, hi, just to let you know we're going over there, and just close the space.
Yeah, we might have to do that to kind of transition back
Because they
over
might be like,
here.
what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to probably do that for probably a month or two actually. Now that I think about it, there are quite a
Definitely.
few people over on the other side. But yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
yes, again, thank you. Thank you to everyone here, and look out for the post of this live. We'll have all of our information. So if you want to connect with us, you'll be able to do so. And I hope everyone here has a beautiful night. TGIF. Enjoy your weekends.
Yes.
Enjoy the weather. Get out there, get some sun, especially get some sun. Um, and yeah, blessings upon you all. And we're going to be closing the space. I guess I can't close this space,
Okay,
love.
I
You're going
guess
to have
that'll
to.
be me.
Yes.
Yeah. This time around. All right, y'all. Yes. Thank you again for coming through. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you for the next pop up. We'll see you at the next Healing Lights event. Yeah. And take a step forward towards the life you want to be living, the dream life. I feel like this Lionsgate is making it practically possible. to do so if you access the opportunities available. Self-starting energy is real big, and then the universe, your divine guidance can follow. All right, y'all, and thank you for coming through. Closing out. Peace, y'all.